Looking out for one another isn't something Canadians do. It's who we are. It's just our nature.
That was Justin Trudeau in a new ad released by the Liberal Party earlier this week called A Better Plan for Canada's Middle Class. Justin Trudeau's tried to cast himself as the defender of the middle class, but is he? In his latest ad, he attempts to paint a picture of a bleak future for middle-class Canadians under Stephen Harper. Here's just one part of the video. Watch this.
Canadians have always helped their fellow Canadians retire with dignity. But Mr. Harper cut old age security benefits and quietly raised the retirement age by 2 years.
Well, to be fair, Harper actually didn't cut old age security benefits at all. He simply raised the age of eligibility to receive full OAS benefits. So previously you could qualify for full OAS at 65. Now you qualify at 67. This change, by the way, won't be fully implemented until 2029. Now Trudeau calls that a cut. I call that modestly raising the age of retirement to avoid the complete collapse of a key social program. Nonetheless, it's important we consider a few things here. First of all, when OAS was established in 1952, the average life expectancy was 68, 69 years of age. So seniors were collecting maybe 4 years of old age security in their retirement. Today, the life expectancy is 82 years of age. So what does that mean? That means that retirees are collecting for 17 years. They used to collect for 4 years. Now they're collecting for 17 years. In fact, if the government had indexed the age of eligibility to life expectancy, the age of eligibility for OAS today would be 78 years of age, right? Because the average life expectancy is now 82. But on top of this, the number of beneficiaries is also rising. The Fraser Institute predicts that the number of people receiving full OAS will increase from 5.3 million Canadians in 2013 to 9.6 million in 2040. That's an 82% increase. And in terms of its cost, OAS will increase from $33.1 billion in 2013 to $109 billion in 2040. So not only is our population aging, but also the number of beneficiaries is growing. Why? Because we're about to see a massive tidal wave of baby boomers retire. Baby boomers, by the way, are the richest generation in history. So what does Harper do? He slowly raises the age of OAS eligibility because the financing costs associated with baby boomers and an aging society are unsustainable. In fact, most economists think this reform is too timid. And what would Trudeau do? He'd undo this modest baby step and have you believe Harper's just being mean to old people. But to pay for this, Trudeau would have to run massive deficits. He'd need to find billions extra per year, money that's already been factored out of current budget projections. And the people saddled with this burden are the middle class and youth, the groups he's trying so hard to win over. By pandering to the senior vote without acknowledging the real costs, Trudeau is either being stupid or dishonest. So then he goes on to say this.
And Canadians have always relied on the Canada Pension Plan to help them retire. But after years of Mr. Harper's neglect, it pays an average of only $600 a month. Could you live on that?
Well, actually, if you have free health care, no kids in school, your home is paid off, which for the majority of baby boomers, that's the case. Remember, they're the wealthiest generation in history in terms of assets owned. And you have money in your RSP, you're also collecting over $500 per month in OAS. Yeah, you probably could live off of $600 in CPP a month, but also remember, just like OAS, when CPP was established in '66, the average life expectancy was just under 72. So people were only collecting for 6 or 7 years compared to the 17 today. But what's more important when it comes to CPP is it's become an unfunded liability. What I mean by this is the number of people paying into it is much smaller than the number of people cashing out. Why? Because people aren't having as many kids anymore, and the baby boomer generation is retiring. Now, it's great that we're living longer, but as massive amounts of people are about to retire and fewer people are paying into CPP, there's just not enough money to pay the pensions. So what would Trudeau propose to do to boost CPP? Would he increase premiums for working age middle-class Canadians to subsidize increased payments for retirees? If that's something he's proposing, he probably should campaign on it. See, if you want to increase people's retiree allowance, well, where is that getting paid out of? Trudeau then goes on to say one more thing. Watch this.
Yet Mr. Harper is giving a $2 billion tax break to the rich. 85% of Canadians will never see a dime of that money.
Yeah, again, he's being dishonest. Trudeau's talking about income splitting here. He says the benefits will mostly go to the rich. But the point of income splitting isn't to benefit any one class. In fact, it wouldn't benefit the rich, but rather it corrects an imbalance. All income splitting does is allow a higher earning spouse to share his or her income for tax purposes. So if you consider this, a couple making $50,000 each a year pay substantially less tax than a household with a sole breadwinner making $100,000. It's the same income, just different tax brackets. Income splitting just treats households as a single unit. How is that unfair? Has anyone questioned the cost of Trudeau's proposed national daycare program compared to the cost of enabling families to choose one parent to stay home and provide that child care themselves? See, Justin Trudeau says he's the champion of the middle class, and in doing so, he perpetuates this myth of middle class poverty. But as we know from a study published last year in the New York Times, Canada's middle class is actually the richest in the world. Of course, this is the man who can't even define who the middle class is. He's actually said the middle class is people who work for their income, not people who live off their assets and their savings. Folks, there's just one simple explanation here, and that's that Justin Trudeau just doesn't have a clue about the middle class. So much for his pledge to protect it.